why he wants to have sex with you, and why it's probably not what you think it is. I hope you can hear me well. Today I decided to be outside in the glorious, amazing Gossatin Maltese sun here in February. It's always such a joy to have to be able to receive the sun. And a couple of days I wrote a post on this topic, and it got so much feedback that I decided to also do a live to go a bit deeper into the topic of itself, because mostly I got a lot of feedback from men who felt really seen by that post. Why he wants to sleep with you, why he wants to have sex with you, and the way I described, I will go deeper into in a moment, but I got so much feedback of the men who were like, yes, this is the reason why I am yearning for this sexual contact, because I feel there is something. And please let me know in the comments if you can't hear me well or there's too much wind, then I will change location. But if there's so much shaming around the masculine desire because it has a big shadow piece, and we've experienced on this planet a lot of the out of alignment masculine sexuality that would pillage, rape, and override boundaries of women when they don't actually maybe are ready for lovemaking. One reason for that is, of course, because we haven't really been educated properly in the way and how we should make love to each other, masculine as much as feminine. We are both in this together, and we're both having to relearn how to meet ourselves. But from my experience, and especially also this post that I wrote, the reason why men want to have sex with women, and I'm talking heteronormative principles here right now, meaning man, woman, and why they want to come together, but it kind of applies also for anybody in between, where you still have those polarities that meet, like the feminine meets the masculine in one way or another. So why does he want to make love to you? Why does he want to have sex with you? And I'm speaking to the women now. It's not because he wants to come. He might think that that is what he wants, but in reality there's a deeper yearning inside of him. It's not that he wants to brat about his experience or his great adventure with you to other men. He might do that just because he's been educated by society and by his friends that this is what men do and it makes him a man. But really and truly, it's not the yearning of his heart. The yearning of his heart is to experience you in rapture, in toe-curling pleasure, in your depth, in your total sensuality, because this is the greatest gift the feminine can give to the masculine. It's such a beautiful offering, and most men somehow know about this, but often they don't know how to connect to that yearning. But that's why often maybe their sexual expressions or their sexual experiences just leave them with a quick release. Okay, done that, but it doesn't really go to the depth of satisfaction that it can actually bring them. One reason why men don't go further is because of their emotional disturbance. Let's say, or we all have this as women as well, but women are usually a little bit more connected to their emotions, specifically to the kinds of emotions that release fluids, tears. So a lot of men have issues crying. I'm seeing many more now having that ability, but the reason why most men long for ejaculation-orientated sex is because ejaculation gives a certain kind of release that for most men is the only kind of release, emotional release, that they have. So when we talk about emotional release, you have to understand that they happen through liquids leaving your body. So when you have tears, for women, when you have amrita, meaning you have this amazing ability to gush, to orgasm with water coming out of your vagina. For men it is ejaculation and tears, of course. Sweating, in exercise, all these things where your body loses liquid is when you emotionally release. And for most men, they choose usually some kind of exercise routine and the quick release through a sexy orgasm that is quite quick and doesn't really go to the depth of the heart's yearning of any kind of man. And whenever I've spoken to men around the willingness to please a woman, it's like they're like at they're like on their knees trying to understand how woman functions, because it's such a journey and such a gift to them to see a woman in pleasure. So the number one thing that a man, or why a man wants to have sex with a woman, is because it's the most beautiful thing to see the feminine embodying itself, the feminine rising, the feminine moving through this beautiful body that you have. And a lot of women haven't really connected to that, because we've been educated by society about the fact that, yeah, we should be beautiful for him. We need to make a show. We need to kind of just seduce him into seeing ourselves or seeing that we're beautiful and that we're these radiant beings. And then that makes sex only a kind of a transaction where you give something to him because you know you'll get some love. You'll get something from him if you make yourself sexy. But this is a false prophecy. It's not something that's actually going to be sufficient for you or sufficient for him. It's not going to really reach the depth of love that you can reach together. So for most women, we need to learn to feel pleasure in our bodies without the need of a partner, or without the need to seduce, without the need to show up for him in some way. Simply just being present with the beating of our hearts, with the sensations on our skin, with the movements that our body wants to express, and learning to desire your own desires, like learning to feel and drink that which you can sense through your skin. When you embody that, when you start to learn that as a woman, your man will desire to make love to you in a different way, because we have something like, it's called relational physics. In relational physics says that you cannot go anywhere with anybody if you haven't reached that certain level that you want to go to inside of you. So wherever you want to deepen, if you want to deepen your relationship, and if you want to deepen your sexual relationship or sexual intimacy and experience as women, you need to deepen your sexual intimacy and deepen your experience with yourself. Your ability to receive pleasure is your ability. Nobody else. A man cannot give you pleasure until you know how to experience pleasure in your body, and until you train that ability to move pleasure through your body without the need to please, without the need to seduce, because that is your shadow feminine speaking and doing its thing. And this is something that we women really learn by being around each other, by being in spaces surrounded by other women, where we learn, oh, the feminine can be like this and the feminine can be like that, and let me try to move like this, and oh, we're just giggling together. So for women to be together with women is very, very important in order to learn the art of your feminine pleasure. And I'm actually just working on putting out a retreat of feminine, call it Wild and Delicious Feminine Radiance Retreat, for a group of women to come together and relearn the art of pleasure, power and play, rather than the concepts of femininity that we've been put on by society. And really and truly, all men that I've spoken to in all my years of working with women and men around intimacy, around sexuality, they have over and over said to me how beautiful it is to meet a woman who knows how to feel pleasure in her body, how to guide him, how to talk to him about how she wants to be touched, and then he can serve that which is wanting to express itself through her, and then the pleasure that she's giving will be this big gift to him, from which he will drink like the well of eternal energy, and it will revive him, and it will bring more pleasure to his body, and will bring more energy to his body, and he will ride higher, and she will ride higher, and we're going up the stairways to heaven, because now we're actually understanding how the mechanisms work. A lot of men are very, I think there's a part of shame around their instinctual wanting to penetrate, because as I spoke in the beginning, there's so much shadow attached to it. We've been so much in shadow play around the unhealthy masculine, but the unhealthy masculine is met exactly by the unhealthy feminine that is also present in each and every one of us. Whether you're a man or a woman, you have masculine and feminine inside of you, and when you meet unhealthy masculine, you also have unhealthy feminine inside. So the enabler, the feminine that shuts the masculine that shuts the feminine down, the feminine that shuts the masculine down. And really and truly, we're wanting to come together here to relearn, to respect, to meet each other in honor, in honoring ritual, in depth, in presence. That's when lovemaking or sex becomes lovemaking, which is a completely different level. And we all, deeply, deeply in our hearts, even if you haven't experienced it, there is a yearning for that deeper experience. I just watched a little video on some kind of, where somebody was just using Tinder, or like it was like a documentary about Tinder. I've never really used it myself, but yeah, that was basically, it was a bit like, oh, all these men on here just want sex. And for me, this is an expression of this yearning that we all have in our hearts, and men have just the same. And often, when the older the men get, the more they become aware of that. And often the young ones, they're just like, there was this guy who had like 5 or 6 Tinder dates every in a week. So he would have like sex every day with a different woman, and this was just his game, because he said he didn't have time for dating. So he didn't have time for he didn't have the emotional capacity to meet a woman. He just wanted to have sex. Well, now, of course, if he finds women who want to meet him in that level, great. But from my perspective, this is the shadow expression of this deeper yearning to feel the deep release and the deep beauty and the deep meeting of souls that happens when you actually open your heart. But most of us, and because we live in this fast-paced world, and the feminine energy is everything that moves. So feminine is everything that moves. It is nature, it is your breath, it is your body. Everything that moves is feminine energy. So we speak to these screens that have a lot of movement around, but they're like flat substitutes of the actual feminine energy that we're craving to express through our own bodies, to meet with another body or other bodies, and to be in connection with. Because with these screens, there's only kind of it's flat, right? This existence isn't really real. So yeah, I'm hoping you're understanding what I'm pointing to, but I feel that there's a lot of out of aligned yearning that we have in our hearts, women as men, and most men really desire to meet a woman deeply, but they don't know how. And most women really desire to meet a man, but they don't know how to explain and how to show a man their feminine true radiance, because it's been covered up by layers of masculine presence, or not presence, by layers of masculine. I have to be something, I have to be successful, I have to be the mother, the seducing wife, the businesswoman, all these different roles that we've put on ourselves to kind of fit into that space. And we've lost our really deep connection to the deliciousness that is inside of ourselves, to that ability to feel pleasure in your body, which is the most amazing, and I say it again, the most beautiful gift you can give to a man. To life, really, because the moment you feel yourself, you feel the depth of your yearning, you feel the depth of your heart, feel the depth of your body's deliciousness, just for you, not for him, not for anybody, not to gain love, not to get anything, but just because you can feel you. That moment, so much will change in your relational physics and your relational concepts, because of course, in some way, it's just loving yourself deeply. And this is the most fleshy expression. Feeling pleasure in your body is a barometer for where you are on your self-love journey. The deeper you can feel that pleasure, the deeper you can become sensitive to the energies that flow inside of you, the more energetic awareness you develop for your own being and your emotions and what needs to be expressed, the more you connect to yourself. And the more you connect to yourself, the more the lovemaking experiences that you have with your partners will deepen. And you can call him out of his addictions to ejaculations. You can call him out of his false manhood behaviors, because really and truly, and I believe this so deeply. And men, if you help me out on here, comment if you feel this is true. But to see a woman in pleasure, and in real pleasure, not in fake pleasure, but in the pleasure that where her body starts to sparkle and ripple with pleasure, and you don't even know what's going on with her, but you're just looking at her in awe, your eyes wide open. And I mean, I've had so many of these experiences where men were literally weeping because of the gift that we were exchanging, and I wasn't giving and he wasn't. We were both giving, receiving in this pleasurable exchange of love between two hearts and bodies. So, the reason why he wants to make love to you, or why he wants to have sex with you, is not just because for his own pleasure. Yes, that will come, and yes, it is beautiful, but the reality is that he just wants to see you in pleasure, because the feminine in rapture, the feminine expressed through her body, is the most delicious, the most beautiful, the most amazing gift we can give to this world. And of course this is true for the men too. You gotta learn to integrate your feminine. You gotta learn to express pleasure in your body too, with sound and with breath, with movement. The more you integrate that too, the more your energy will start to flow. The more you will be able to join her in her dance towards divinity. The more you will be able to show up. Because it's not just one way. Both polarities, we all need to learn the full spectrum to become these grand, beautiful, amazing, pleasurable human beings. So stay in your body. Ask your body today, what do you need? What do you want? This is like a super simple practice to just ask your body, what do you want now? And then listen, and then go do it. Maybe it just needs a little massage. Maybe it needs a little hug. Maybe you just want to touch your face. Maybe you just want to lick your lips, because it's just pleasurable, and it's a reminder for you to stay in your body. So, enjoy the pleasure, enjoy what you can discover within you, and then enjoy sharing it. Have a magical day.